If you got a spinning reel and there's something that you just don't like, it feels tight, it feels weird, well, I'm gonna show you the basic and advanced way to lubricate this thing so it's smooth as butter. So first I'm gonna start with the basic way, which is really just gonna be using oil and lubricating 5 or 6 places on the spinning reel. And this is gonna be something you can just kind of do throughout the year. It's not gonna require any tools. You can do it fairly easily. And then we're gonna work our way to the more advanced, where you're gonna need to break out some tools. And we're gonna open up the reel body. I'm gonna show you where within the gears you need to place your grease. Let's go ahead and hop in. All right, the first thing you can do is remove the drag cap from your spool. It'll take a second. And when you take this off, you might already locate the issue, which a lot of times line will get caught up underneath your spool and it will kind of bunch up. As you can see this, when I spin it real fast, this spindle goes up and down. And sometimes line can get caught under there and it bunches up, creating that tightness feeling. Obviously, if you have line there, go ahead and cut that out. And what we're gonna do is place a little grease right where that spindle goes up and down. Place just 1 drop or so. I like using the Lucas fishing reel oil, this stuff right here. It's got a nice applicator top and I've just been using it for a long time and it's worked incredibly well. So I'll throw the link to all the grease and oil I use in the description below. So once you put the oil in there, go ahead and spin it. Next we're gonna do is oil your bail arm connections right here. So I go ahead and put 1 drop of oil in each connection, let that seep in and kind of move this back and forth. You can go ahead and put this back on. Quick note here, being that you took your drag cap off, make sure you reset your drag before you go out fishing again. Next, I'm gonna show you a place that oftentimes gets overlooked in the lubrication process in your spinning reel, which is your line roller right here. So this is spinning, so your line doesn't create friction against metal, and that spins around and there's a bearing in there. So we're gonna put 1 drop of oil in there and spin that around the best you can. All right, I got 2, technically 3 more places you're gonna put this oil to lubricate your spinning reel on kind of the basic maintenance approach. All right, next one is also overlooked. It's your little handle right here. So go ahead, there's some bearings in there. Just put 1 drop of oil and let that spin around. And I can already tell it's spinning a little bit faster. All right, next you're gonna wanna remove the, ooh, got it. Next you're gonna wanna remove the entire handle. And you do that by simply unscrewing this side here. It's kind of a long screw. There are some bearings on the inside of here, so what you're gonna do is take 1 drop of oil, not in the middle, but on the outside where the bearings are, that's where you're gonna drop that in. So I'll drop in 1, kind of spin that around a little bit, spin it over, and then drop another 1 drop in there. Also spin that around, and go ahead and put your handles back on. I'm right-handed, so I'm gonna stick it on the right side. I can already tell this feels a ton more smooth than when I started, but we're not done. I'm gonna take you to the more advanced. We're gonna open up the reel body. I'm gonna show you what's inside and show you where to put your grease. So I know I just told you to put the handle back on, but in order to take that cap off, you're gonna need to remove that again. Only take a second. And now you're gonna need a screwdriver. This takes a flathead or a Phillips. So I'm gonna grab one of those. It's gonna be pretty tiny. This guy would do the trick. I have screws here, here, and here, so I'm gonna undo those. Something to note here when you're taking off those screws. Now, mine, all 3 of these screws are the same, but in some reels, they're gonna be different lengths. And you're gonna notice those whenever you're taking those out. Maybe snap a picture or place them somewhere on your workbench so you know what hole they go in when you're putting this all back together. Now what I'm gonna do is kind of pop the cap. It's gonna come right off. You might have to kind of manipulate how your bail arm is. There you go, got the inside. All right, I can already tell this needs some grease because I took apart one that is fairly new just a minute ago, this guy, and it was full of grease. And this is full of nothing. So let me show you what you're gonna need to do with this guy. All right, what I'm looking at here, looks like you got your main drive gear, you have a worm gear, looks up in here, you got a pinion gear. And essentially what you're gonna wanna do is grease on the gears where you see metal on metal. So on this Lew's Xfinity Speed Stick, I'm gonna be greasing right down here. I'm gonna be greasing under here. I'm gonna spin it around. I'm gonna grease back in there. And I'm gonna grease this pin right here that slides up and down so it continues to slide nicely. The grease I like to use is this pen. It's a precision reel grease made for this. So let's go ahead and open this up. Sometimes you get this as an applicator, but there's not this time, not a big deal. So I'm just gonna kind of put it on with the end of my screwdriver here. We're not really gonna touch it, just gonna drop it in there. So I've got a little bit there. And a couple places I wanna put this. I'm gonna put it back in there on that pinion. Shove it in there, nice. Pick up a little bit more. Put it on the underside of here. So when I spin that around, it's all gonna connect to the rest of the gears. Put a little more. I'm gonna slide some up and down right there. That makes a nice smooth slide back and forth. The spindle goes up and down. And then if I can get some, I'm gonna shove some down in this gear. Right down there. Okay. Push it down there some more. All right, what I like to do is kind of spin that around and get those moving. You should see all your gears start to go bluish. And that's what you want when the metal is on metal, on all those kind of look blue. I'm not sure if you guys can see that, but it's definitely changing. I can tell that's super smooth. Definitely changed the dynamic of the spinning reel. Now something to note here, I've watched some videos. I mean, guys just like pack it in there. And I believe that if you just pack it in there and put a little bit of grease goes a long way. And especially if you do this every once in a while, there's no need to put an incredible amount of grease in there. Over time, it's just going to gum up. So just put enough in there to coat the metal and you'll be good to go, at least for another full season in my opinion. Now, if you also have bait casters like myself, I got another video coming out here in a couple weeks. Hit that sub and I will keep them coming. Thanks guys, see ya.